Before we get into today's video, I'd like to just remind everybody out there that while I own a lot of the stocks I discuss, including the one on today's video, it doesn't necessarily mean it's an endorsement for anybody else to buy the stock. I'm hoping with these videos to offer some updates, some information, a sprinkling of my own opinions, as well as perhaps inspire a spirited discussion and friendly debate in the comment sections and on Discord. Link in the description, by the way. With that out of the way, I hope you enjoy the video. Walgreens stock has reported earnings this week. After having a really rough year to date, it is finally starting to look like it might be seeing a little bit of a recovery. Beaten down over 35% year to date, it has been a really tough year for Walgreens Boots Alliance shareholders. Now, after this tough year, we've had a bit of a reprieve finally, with the stock recovering nearly 6% in just one day of trading today. Trading hasn't yet quite closed, so this number may change slightly after the release of the video. The way I see it, there's one major catalyst for this improvement in the share price, and that is the nomination of the new CEO, Tim Wentworth. Tim Wentworth has that deep healthcare experience they were looking for, with over 3 decades of experience at companies like Evernorth, Accredo, and Express Scripts. With that depth of experience, he should bring substantial value to the growth of the healthcare business that Walgreens is looking to expand into. While Mr. Market seems to have really liked the news about the new CEO, the financial results leave a little something to be desired. While sales were up almost 5%, and this does somewhat dispel the notion of this being a dead business, adjusted EPS did fall over 20%. That is a very legitimate concern for the business going forward. Unfortunately, this really stems from an issue regarding margins, and retail is vulnerable to margins. The margin compression has been driven by lower COVID-19 vaccine and testing volume in the pharmacy division, while the retail portion of the business had their margins negatively impacted by higher shrink. Shrink being retail theft. That's an issue that's actually plaguing all retail at the moment, but Walgreens is definitely amongst those most affected by this issue, for sure. I hear you asking, what about the healthcare business? Well, of course, this is the fastest growing segment of the company. Revenue is up quite a lot. And frankly, as time goes on, it's clear that the losses that they're taking are shrinking, and that their EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, is going up and inching ever closer to the break-even point. However, since this is still such a small percentage of the business, it will likely be some time, probably several years, before we really see a substantial impact on the bottom line. However, as they move forward and inch closer to break even and then profitability, it will at least reduce the amount of costs that we see going out the door on this business. When it comes to 12-month price forecasts, the average analyst has this at $32.25. Now, I personally think the actual value of this business to be probably higher than that. And I think once we look at the guidance, I'll be able to tell you why that is. But for now, yes, the average analyst's estimate is about $32. Low end, 25, high, 45. But these really are just guesses as to what the price will do in the next 12 months. I don't think that you should necessarily hang your hat or buy or sell just based on this information. When it comes to the 2024 guidance, management is guiding for adjusted earnings per share of between $3.20 and $3.50. This is lower than the fiscal year 2023 adjusted earnings per share. This reflects some of the headwinds that they're facing, including higher tax, lower COVID-19 contributions, other issues, perhaps the shrink continuing. Even with that forward guidance and shares currently trading only maybe around 7 times 2024's guided adjusted EPS, analysts are still rating this thing as a hold. It's likely that they're hesitant about the company based on all of the headwinds and issues that they've faced so far this year. I think they'll wait to see what the new CEO says and how his leadership impacts the bottom line for a while before they consider upgrading to a buy anytime soon. I'll be giving my own conclusions momentarily, but I would like to remind you to please like the video if you found it at all informative or entertaining, and make sure also that you subscribe to the channel. Your support really means the world. While I believe it's very likely that Walgreens is mispriced and beaten up beyond what's rational in today's market, there's no denying that they've had a rough year. A $6 billion lawsuit that they had to pay out due to opioids, bad press, a CEO out the door, a lot of retail theft. That shrink really hurts. News of impending competition from that Mark Cuban pharmacy, and maybe Amazon's thinking about jumping into the pharmacy game. It's for sure that things could look pessimistic, but oftentimes the best opportunities come when things are the most pessimistic. And it just depends on one's ability to set their emotions aside and not fear the negative outcome, but also be right that the fear in the market is wrong. And that's all easier said than done. So what I will be continuing to do with Walgreens is I will hold and I will sell options against it. Meaning, on the shares I have, I will sell some covered calls out of the money, and I may sell some cash secured puts below the money with the potential to possibly average down my cost a little bit while it's still this beaten up, and collect the dividends in the meanwhile, and just be overall cool as a cucumber, calm and rational. That's just my way of doing things. Fear doesn't accomplish much, and right now, fear, I think, is at a pretty high point when it comes to Walgreens, though somewhat assuaged with the new CEO. As we know, the market abhors uncertainty, and at least now it knows who's going to be running the ship for the foreseeable future. And with that, I bid you adieu. Remember to like and subscribe, join the Discord, link in the description. Take it easy, everybody.